So apparently Kick and YouTube were not connected. They are now. So we will repeat what we said in the last 2 minutes. Uh, Generally speaking, gaming and bushcrafting doesn't mesh well. If you're bushcrafting, you don't want to be gaming. If you're gaming, you don't want to be bushcrafting, right? However, there are some ways to kind of get around that. And one of the chief things that I found is tablets and attachable controllers or detachable controllers. And we're going to kind of go over some of the gear and some of the other stuff I have associated with a bush loadout. Now, it's also important to note that this video is not just going over that stuff, but also editing and weighing to feel physically what can go in the backpack and what can't. So we're largely going to be going over too heavy, too bulky, or too expensive to weed out the garbage, so to speak. Even though it's not garbage, it's actually really expensive stuff. So, let's get into it. And you may see my puppy dog in the background. That is not a mouse. Well, you can see some of the stuff on the table already. And yeah, I'm a little chunky today. I got some weight loss stuff in the works that we're working on. Alright, we're going to start with the sharps. The handheld sharps, if you will. Starting with the multi-tools. Here, I have two examples. I actually have three of these, but I don't really want to dig out the fifth one, or the third one. Actually, probably is the fifth. This is just a basic Ozark Trail Walmart. Actually, this is a Mossy Oak, but good old-fashioned multi-tool. It needs to be a little cleaned on the inside, so maybe I can get in there with a wire brush and a toothbrush and kind of give it a little scrub it up. Okay, this is probably the one that I use personally the most. It actually doesn't have a case right now because I keep breaking my cases. This is my favorite just because it's just a standard Mossy Oak knockoff Leatherman. I would actually recommend, if you have the money, to go buy a real Leatherman, but like, you know, for 15 bucks that I got at Walmart, you can't really go wrong with it, I guess. This one's a newer one, and I kind of hate it. I like this feature right here. It's a basic locking mechanism for anything. So like if I get out the mini saw that it has on it, kind of clicks in place and it's not really going anywhere. And you know, I kind of like the handle profile a little bit better. What I don't like is that it's not a solid metal handle. It's got these stupid plastic grips, and even the, I'm guessing that's aluminum on the red there. It feels artificially placed. So again, a good multi-tool, always a good recommendation, right? Now, this one's going to be controversial, so I'm going to issue the disclaimer now. Depending on the state that you live, some states used to have blade length restrictions, and I think they still do. Stay out of stuff. That was me clapping my hands, don't worry. I don't strike my dog. So, I have two of these because I bought them cheap on Temu, but a good long-bladed knife can help with batoning. The thing I don't like about these ones from Temu, well, this one does have the spine on it for striking a ferro rod, so that's good. I didn't like this one at first, and there was a reason for that, and I'll get into that in a minute. But it's kind of since become my everyday belt knife. I don't like it because I don't like the handle. I like the Mora survival knives better, but it is what it is. This was the one I was carrying previously. It's kind of the cousin to it, but it's a little bit smaller. It kind of looks like a basic Tonto profile knife, which you'll find a lot of my knives are Tonto profile. It's not. It is kind of a preference because a lot of the stuff that I do is actually in the kitchen, and it's mostly opening airtight packages. And this just, you can sink it in the cutting board and just pull it, and it cuts like a razor. It's just really good for packaging. Personal preference. Drop. There's nothing wrong with drop point. I actually do have a couple drop points. Just not on this. Well, actually, I might have one on this table. But here's the problem with these knives: their weight profile. This one's the lighter of the two, but if I'm being honest with you, if I'm just doing basic stuff in the woods, I want a smaller knife. And I have a reason for that. It's because the other thing that I carry that's bigger than these two, but doubles up on two other things. And we're going to get into that next. Okay. This is a Camillus Carnivore X machete, or as I jokingly call it, the big knife, or the thing that you pull out when someone says they have a knife and you say yours is bigger. This is like a 3-in-1. You got your machete again with the Tonto grind up top. I love this thing. I've used it quite a bit. The saw I actually really like, and it does, like, the handle sucks, but the saw has come in clutch more than once. I have a dog who wants in on this apparently. So there's that. And that's why I don't like to carry bigger knives, is because if I'm carrying this, I don't want the bigger two. I want the smaller, you know, more agile, lighter weight knife. But while we're on the topic of the sharps, we're also going to get into something else. And this all, by the way, this is stuff that actually goes in my car most of the time. A lot of it. So, like, you're going to see me pull out, like, one of my heavier weight items. I love a good old hatchet. Yes, I did that. I have since been informed that putting a hole in the base of the handle may not have been my best idea, but I've not had a problem with it yet. I also did some wood graving, so that way, you know, people know, you know, it's mine. Actually, we might be able to do this and catch my face too. Cool beans. Well, you get a partial headshot anyway. It's nothing special. It's just a good old-fashioned Ozark Trail. It's a 1.25-pound hatchet. I'm going to say ounces is pounds when you're backpacking. All this stuff basically was in my backpack when I went to go retrieve my car on a 5-mile walk like a week ago. That's why we're kind of going through all of this stuff, and we're going to suck it down to the bare minimum. And we're just going to go over some of the stuff that was in the bag as kind of a walk of shame thing, right? Okay. Now, credit to Corporal's Corner. This thing right here is amazing. It's kind of one of his older gadgets, but they've been 3D printed all over the place and made all over the place now, so they're not really. But this one was, I believe, yeah, this was the Spool Tool US, with the patent pending. You probably can't see that too well, but this thing is awesome. It's my cordage, it's my lighter, it cuts itself, it's great. You can hold multiple types of cordage by it, and I keep this thing in a cargo pocket every day. Every day. This thing, I am fanatical about this. I care more about keeping this in my pocket than I do my cell phone. And that thing never leaves my side because my driver's license is in the back of my cell phone. You know. Oh yeah, speaking of weird knives, here's a fun one. This is from Buck. I don't remember the model. This was a gift from a friend. I'm not going to get into who. Um, I'm not sure what to call the point on this. Modified drop point. I don't know. It's seen some use, mostly as a package opener, but folding knife wise, it is my second favorite. My first favorite is the drop point, but that was a gift from my daughter's mother, and we'll get into that one too. But this is a good one. Nice rubber handle. You can grip it. I like where the belt hanger is on it. It's great. I can't say anything wrong about it. When she bought this and this for me for Christmas one year, these two things were like the best thing she could have ever got me. A sharpening stone and the knife to go with it. And I'll tell you what, happy as clam in mud. If you have an outdoors man as your significant other, or maybe he splits his hobbies like I do, where he's outdoors and indoors, you will not go wrong buying him a good quality folding knife and a good quality sharpening stone. And a good segue into sharpening stones. Okay, one of mine is missing, and that's my pocket stone. I have two that I use on the regular, and that's these. This is at home. I never carry this thing. It's way too heavy. Putting it in a gear bag is just asking for trouble. You only put this in a gear bag if you're leaving and you're not coming back, right? Or maybe you're gone for like a month or two. This, on the other hand, I think is great. Even without the orange paracord that I put on it, it's got a nice bright yellow profile with a gray little nub handle that, you know, these things are great. I swear by them. I don't have a problem with them. They're fine. The only thing that I'm missing is a leather strap, but that's another topic for another day. I keep buying belts that aren't made of leather, and they keep breaking on me. I'm going to buy one that's made of leather when I get paid again. Actually, probably going to buy two of them. One of them is going to end up as a leather strap, and the other one is going to end up as an actual belt. Alright, into the lightweight stuff that... So these items have been featured on numerous bushcrafting channels and shelter builds and whatever else. I'm going to go over them very briefly and why I'm not too keen on one of them, but why I think it's the best one of the two. And that's going to be a conflicting opinion. Alright. Folding saws. Can't go wrong, right? Lightweight. Love this one. Simple operation. You push the button on the back. You got yourself a folding saw. Good for taking down trees. I would argue probably no bigger than about that much of your blade on the saw. But, you know, at that thickness right there, that's about 2 inches give or take, 3 inches give or take. Most of the trees that you take down at that profile are going to build you a shelter. And it's probably going to be a super shelter, or you're going to be building a firewall for keeping the heat on you on your shelter. There's nothing wrong with these. These are great. The one thing that I have against this one is the quality. This one, I believe, was I think this was Harbor Freight, or it was Walmart. I bought one at Harbor Freight, I bought one at Walmart, so it's hard for me to keep track of which one was green, one was red. I like the red one because it sticks out better, outside of fall season. This is the controversial one. This is one that I am kind of iffy on. This was a Swiss Tech. This was Walmart. But a lot of other companies make something similar. And this is a buck saw, or a bow saw. Now, I personally love this thing for woodworking. It's great for cutting lumber. I love it for smaller limbs, despite the fact that it does have the longer blade. The problem that I run into is the back bar. These saws have a very bad reputation with certain people of, oh, I'm going to go take down this tree. You know, I need a log for building a log cabin for whatever reason. Actually, might be in the future. So therefore, I'm going to go find a tree that I can't even hug and try to take it with this saw. Dumb idea. Stop doing that. Go up to your tree, put your bow saw up to it, and make sure that the tree fits within the space here. If it doesn't, don't try to cut into it, because then all you're making is a future Widowmaker, and actually, you could be the Widow E in that situation. But this is more of a woodworking tool, I would argue, in my opinion, but a very good one. Generally speaking, this has a 50% chance of making it into my backpack. The folding saw that I do have, the red one, will be in there 100% of the time. Like, I will put this thing in my pocket and carry it with one of my longer knives, or maybe even the shorter knife and the machete, depending on what I'm doing. Which, here lately, because I just got out of the hospital like 2 months ago, hasn't been much. Body's still kind of adapting to the new medications, which we'll get into that at the end of this video. Which leads us to the next thing. Putting a hole in something without a gun. Oh, key reminder on this video. I will not be covering firearms on this particular video. May I, in a future video, cover firearms and firearm accessories? Maybe. I don't know. I want to go over the YouTube nuances of it because they're really particular. This, however, this is the other thing that puts holes in things. This is an auger. It's not a very long one. I didn't want to go with the long one this time. I wanted something short and sweet that could fit in my pack. I have a reason for carrying this thing. When you are, and I also carry this to go with it, slides right in the handle. It doesn't lock in place or anything, but when you really get to twisting on it, having a wooden handle is nice to have remade. It just saves you a little bit of time. When you are building anything bigger than a lean-to, like say a log cabin, or maybe just a smaller wood shelter in the woods that actually has a proper four walls and a roof, right? You're going to want to put peg holes on the four corners, and sometimes in between two of the four corners. And yeah, I know it looks like I'm gonna woohoo myself and ding myself in the lip. That's just a camera angle. I'm actually a good foot to 6 inches away. I recommend it. It's a lightweight tool. It doesn't weigh anything. And the stick that goes with it, you can wing ding one in the woods. Not a big deal. Now, a lot of the people, Cole Cracker, Sean from Corporal's Corner, I love my Corporal's Corner. I swear by watching it. It's basically kind of become like the gospel around the bushcrafting gospel around here. Him and Cole Cracker and a few others, including Andrew from Ranger Forest and Survival. So prior to today, I was convinced that up here, the noggin, I could survive and navigate without a problem. Yeah. Well, they kind of convinced me of otherwise by watching their stuff, and I'll explain why in just a second once we start going over, like, I'm missing an item. Actually, 2 items, and one of them is a headlamp, which, oh good, the dog broke that one. Okay, that's not fun. That's not cool. Yeah, lighting headlamps, I swear by them. If you can wear it on your head and it shows you where to go, you're good to go. Now these 2 pouches, and obviously this is a, lined paper notebook. I like the lines. I know there are people out there who say, you need to use the blank paper. Dude, I've been writing, drawing, and doing all kinds of stuff on lined composition paper since I was 3. Just let me have my lined paper, okay? So, this actually contains an item that's not supposed to be in here, because I forgot it was in here. Actually, it has quite a few items, but it's germane to the video. Um, I mean, this is actually just like my backup pouch for other pens, pencils, and the other fun thing I like to carry is colored pencils. Um, if you have a boredom problem, I'm going to kind of say this, and actually this pouch will end up in that. It'll end up in the gear bag, actually. Take some colored pencils with you. And just like a cheap Dollar Tree small, you know, small thing, and a regular good old-fashioned wooden pencil. Drawing your environment, drawing stuff from your environment is not only a good thing to do for navigation's sake, but if you color it in, it gives you actually something to do. And one of the problems that I have had camping, in the bush, whatever, when everything else is done, when your survival stuff is done, you're nice and warm, you've got your food, you got your drink, and you're just waiting for something to happen, or you're waiting to do the next step, right? Boredom is your number one enemy, and we're going to cover closer to the tail end of this, before the health issue stuff, but after the gear dump and edit. One of the things that people forget is boredom is man's worst enemy. You could be sitting at home and thinking, man, it'd be really nice if I had... Yeah, we got some dog and cat action in the back. You could be sitting at home doing nothing, and all of a sudden boredom will strike you, and you're trying to pole vault across your yard and end up breaking your leg, right? I mean, extreme example, but a worthwhile one to mention, because I've seen people wrestle each other just out of sheer boredom and end up in the hospital with broken legs. So, I recommend something small, you know. If you're a solitaire person and maybe the wind allows for it and you're out in the woods, a deck of playing cards, some dice, a composition book, and some good old-fashioned 12 coloring pencils. Just something to keep your hands busy and off of the stuff that can get you hurt. That's the important thing. Now, we're going to go into the real daily carry pouch, and this is the thing that probably is like all this stuff in one, minus maybe the compass and the coloring stuff. Actually, a funny story. This used to have a knife in it. There's a mini composition book, a lighter, nail clippers. There's one of those stupid. I hate these things. The pole saw things that you get in every survival kit ever. Pencil sharpener. I've got some liquid bandage. Again, there used to be a little orange knife in here, but I guess it kind of got relocated, maybe. Sharpie, toothbrush, toothpaste, miniaturized. You know, just some general, like, pouch stuff. This is stuff that I only recommend. This is like daily use stuff. Pens, pencils, lighters, liquid bandage. You know, I keep that stupid cord saw in there. I don't know why. I do not like those things. They break every time I use them, because every time I get one, it's not one of the good high quality ones. If you can find one, just well, battery's dead. I need to swap that out. The button must have been pressed. Just a pen light. But you'll notice it's not a normal red pen light. I've done some duct tape, electrical tape, more duct tape. This one's full-size duct tape, and a blue wire harness holder. Okay. Something that I've gotten flack for is the blue wire holder things, and are they necessary? No, they're not. I keep them for a very specific reason. Now I gotta get all this stuff back in here. Little singular travel size of toothpaste. It's literally just like a little travel pouch, right? I remember why I took the knife out. I took the knife out because I'm going to pocket carry or belt carry or a combination of the two. my knives, so there was no need to put an extra, like, fifth knife in the bag, especially when it was the knife that it was. It was not a very good knife. Actually, I took it out because the red outer setting that they put on those folding knives that you get from, like, I don't even think it was Ozark Trail. I think it was an Amazon purchase that I bought, one of those little survival pouches that I just wanted the pouch, but it was like $5 and it had like a bazillion items in it. I didn't care about the items, just wanted the pouch. It just happened to be in one of those. Back to the navigation for a second. Compass. I have like 4 different compasses. This is good for lightweight, like it's in your bag. I have one from Ozark Trail that I'm gonna kind of get laughed at, but I like. It's a set of binoculars that fold up that also has a mirror, a magnifying glass, and a compass all in one that I got from Walmart. I don't necessarily like it for the compass, and the binoculars suck. Like, really, seriously, I want some real binoculars, and I'm probably going to make that happen at some point. But I like this one. I got it off of Temu. Actually, no, I got this from Walmart. It's an Ozark Trail, but you can get them off of Temu. They're just a plastic with a little magnifier on it. It's got some measuring units on the sides. It's got your big old compass in the middle. I like this thing. Some people don't like it because it's hard to cast an azimuth direction off of it. In the United States, and I'm gonna be kind of more specific, especially on the East Coast and in the South and like bigger states like California where like the highway is everywhere. Generally speaking, in the United States, in the lower United States, most of the time you're not going to use this. There's a reason for that. You're going to know where sunrise and sunset is. And as long as you know that, you just walk towards where the sun rose. At some point, you're going to run into one of two things: a road or highway, a house, or the ocean, or a river. At which point, you'll be able to follow one of those two. And I mean, if you're lucky, you run into a house or a business, right? You're going to be able to run into one of those and say, hey, look, I just had an accident. Blah, here's where it happened. I hobbled my way, 10 miles to get here. Blah, blah, blah. This is more for Bush, Alaska, Canada, like really out in the weeds, Canada, other countries that you're not familiar with, or places that you're not familiar with in general. But if you know where north is, you can pretty much navigate. I do recommend that you carry this everywhere you go, because you never know what you're going to get shanghaied into. I have, God help me. Back in my younger years, I have gotten partying with friends and ended up in places that I didn't know where I was. And if I had this in my pocket, it would have saved me like an hour's worth of time. It's always good to carry it. Yeah, I know I did the whole crossover body and prayer thing. But knowing where north is as quickly as possible is a big help. I mean, if you know where north is, you can walk perpendicular to it, walk east or west, whichever ocean you figure is closest. And eventually you'll either run into a highway, a person, or, a residence or business, and you'll be fine. Like, you can just say, hey, yeah, lost in the woods, I need some help. And if they're nice enough, whatever. If they're not nice enough, then at least you found, some sort of life form that had built a residence. You walk down their driveway and down to the road. You know that you're on a road. You just need to pick left or right, and eventually you will run into a town. Eventually. Then your survival situation becomes significantly more simple, especially if you're living in the area. Now, there's something that I do need to state. The state that I live in, Maine, Maine is complicated. I have use for this in Maine, actually. There is an acreage in Maine. We jokingly call it the 100 acre woods. And basically, what it is, it's 100 acres of forest up above Millinocket, Mount Katahdin general area. If I were to get airdropped in there without any idea as to where I was, this would be important. If I get into an accident, knock my head, whatever, I'm out in the woods, I don't know where I am, have amnesia, whatever, this is in my pocket or on my, in a gear pouch on my person, we're good to go. We can navigate our way out of it. Now, as to the azimuth thing, why I don't use it in the United States and why I am kind of iffy on it. It's a good way to navigate. It's affirmatively like the best way to navigate if you don't know where you are. If you know you're in the state that you know you're in, like you can smell it, you can feel it, you can smell the oceanside salt water, or you know the smell of Maine spruce and pine and moose and bear and all that stuff, and you know your home, especially your home state, you probably won't be using it because you're going to be like, okay, well, the sun is right above my head. I'll give it about 15-20 minutes. It'll start to set. I'll see which direction it's going in, figure out which way south is, and the further south I go, the sooner I'm going to run into a road and or Bangor or Portland or whatever's south of me. Pretty easy to navigate the state of Maine. I wouldn't recommend doing it on foot, but there are people who have done it. Even then, I'm going to say, just tuck it in a pouch somewhere. This is like paper. This is almost as thin as a notebook. It's about the same like width as my sharpening stone or even a deck of playing cards. If you can fit a deck of playing cards, you can fit a compass. If you have to choose one, choose the compass. Trust me, you won't go wrong with a compass. Although, if you know what you're doing with a deck of playing cards, you can also find your way too. And I'll show you that neat little trick too. It involves a fork stick and one playing card, preferably when you're not going to use like the instruction card or the Joker. The Joker's sort of playable if you play with the Joker. I don't usually. Now, we're going to get into some of the bags and sacks and stuff that I keep. And I know we've already gotten into a bag technically, but that's less of a bag. It's more of a writing utensil bag. Alright. We'll cover that here in a bit. Okay, which one are you? So this was an effort by me to make for my fiance. Yes, a pouch of just general survival goodies that she can use. Yeah, I'm aware there's no cordage in here. There's no cordage in here for a reason. It hasn't been added yet. It hasn't been added yet because we're about to make that item. And I will show you a preview of that item. Those pouches should be, but they're not. Uh-oh. I misplaced a pouch. Nope, it's down by my feet. The scrouts, if you will. Alright, that's a bad joke, but this is kind of an extended, my idea of a lightweight survival pouch. But I'm in here for a very specific item. Yeah, orange paracord. For whatever reason, Walmart doesn't sell black. Well, they do, but it's always out of stock. Okay. This. You might not know what this is. This is a tarp that has been I just had a brain fart. It's a tarp that's been wrapped, okay? It's for quick release. All you do is you yank on this, it pulls the inner cordage out, and the corded handle that looks like I'm gonna bash someone over the head with it, I wouldn't recommend it. This thing is so lightweight you won't do anything. It's a joke. Just a general dollar tarp from Dollar Tree, actually. This one's getting kind of worn and torn because it's been kind of jostled around. But in a situation that you need to use it, you just the cord out of it. It's still got the eyelets and stuff in the tarp, and you just set up a stick for a frame. You take the cordage and you just use it to tie down the tarp, and you're good to go. Yeah, little shelter system in a roll. I actually think this works better than the Mylars because, yes, it's bigger, but you keep the rain off your head, and if done correctly, it can do more than that. I know we're kind of bebopping all over the place here, but this is kind of like a my gear in total stream. We'll get into this in a minute. That one I'm going to get laughed at for. But this is exactly what it looks like. 100% cotton, ripped to hell. Bandana. Why do I keep a damaged bandana? Why don't I throw it away? Blah, 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 blah. Fire starter, water filter for bigger debris, sweat wipe, pick a thing. Damaged or not, these things, you just keep them. And by the way, the damaged ones are better because you're more likely to use it for fire starter. You're not going to be as hesitant to do it. Yeah, I do have, or did have, I don't know if it's still in here, a functional, like, solid one. Let's get into the thing that I'm going to get laughed at for. This is the dorkiest thing I've ever bought from Walmart. And yet, you know, I mean, we can kind of, like, side by side, kind of compare the needles. The liquid needle I like because, like, it doesn't matter where it is. That would be this one. Okay, like, you set it down, already got north. This one, you kind of gotta, well, I guess this is liquid filled too. You kind of gotta jostle with it a little bit and work with it. Which, I mean, kind of sucks. But it does have one advantage over the flat one. It has a little sight ring so you can actually do an azimuth. Which is nice. Now, here's the part of it that gets me kind of laughed out of a room. It's also a set of binoculars. And I mean, not the greatest set of binoculars either. Hard to use. You kind of got to do this maneuver with it. And I mean, you look like a dork. But I found that a better way to use this thing instead of that is to fold down the lenses and just get them set right and use it as a monocle because it's just easier to look through. It also has a little mirror, and these lenses do double as magnifying glasses, so you know, you got that too. It is a good all-in-one. It's even got the adjustment for the for your ins and outs for your binoculars, which is good, but is it something I would absolutely scream up and down for everyone to have? No. Go get your real folding compass. Go get a real set of binoculars and just freaking carry them. Number one, it'll save you the embarrassment of pulling this thing out of your pack and be like, oh, let me see. Number two, that equipment has specialized cases. This one did. Take a guess what happened. Yeah, it broke. Which one are you? Are you my fishing Altoids or are you my fire starting? Fishing. Okay, so I keep a couple lures in here. Well, a lure and some hooks, actually. Some decent fishing hooks. These Altoids tins are great. You can make char cloth, you can make charcoal, you can do all kinds of stuff. All you need is an Altoid tin and a fire. I always keep one, at least one, in one of these bags somewhere, and sometimes it is the micro tin. I do like the micro tins. They work. They just work. And yes, I keep a hair elastic. Never, alright. Never, ever, ever, I don't care who you are, don't look down on something as a piece of gear. Hair elastics function for a couple of different purposes, and they are really good at it. And the more durable ones you can get, the better off you are. Do I have long hair? No. Does my fiance? Yes. Do I sometimes buy an extra thing of hair elastics just to shove into a backpack or a bag somewhere? Yes. They serve multiple purposes. They are an elastic, stretchy band that can hold things together. So if you have something like an Altoids tin that's overfull, yeah, figure it out. This is supposed to be a medical box. It's kind of been used as everything but. It did have some of the, EMS cut scissors that can cut a penny. I think I took them out and put them back in this bag somewhere. Yep, right there. These. Okay. You have umpteen million knives. Why would you need a pair of scissors? Especially these scissors. These scissors will cut through just about anything. These are not surgical scissors. They are EMS scissors. Well, they're not exactly EMS scissors. They're the cheap knockoffs. I need to talk to some of my friends and see if I can get the real deal. But these, if you're in a situation where you've got a stick hanging out of your fucking leg and you're about to cauterize it, the last thing you want to do is grab onto your buck knife and make another wound on your body by trying to cut your pants and do the friggin' Rambo BS where you're gonna, I'm gonna pull the stick out of my leg, I'm gonna cut the pants leg right now. No, don't do that. Do not do that. If you're gonna cauterize the wound, if you're stupid enough to cauterize your own friggin' wound, be smart enough to have these. Just trust me. Cauterizing wood, surface level cauterization is actually generally what I prefer or recommend, just to keep your blood in your body, and then a tourniquet immediately above it, and grab this damn thing. Do the world a favor. Unless it's the apocalypse and services aren't there, or the rapture has happened, and you using one of these is going to get you, beheaded or whatever. Yes, I know that's a very Christian-y reference. I don't care. Just call 911 for the love of. People have gotten better about this in recent days, but so many fatalities from accidents happen because they're too afraid to call 911 or too embarrassed. Dude, you're going to bleed out if you don't. Call 911. Call search and rescue if you have service. Just do it. And we're going to get into the tech reason as to why the cell phone is considered separate from the gaming stuff and the camera stuff. And I'll get into that. It's a theory that I kind of developed. This is something that goes with the cooking set, which is the little baggie over there, the mesh bag at the end of the table. It's got 2 plates, 2 sets of forks, spoons, and butter knives. It's got a small cooking pan and a very small boiling pot for boiling water. It's actually more of a coffee cup size. But there is actually a pan in the thing too for cooking too. Why did I double up on the pan and the pot and the cup? Because it holds about the same amount of water. I might not be going alone. There might be someone going with me. I have a dog. She's got to eat too. I have my fiance. I should have put my fiance first. I know that makes me look terrible. I'm a horrible, horrible person. Anyway, back to the medical kit. It's just got some gauze, some medical tape, some sponges. I put some matches in here because it's also waterproof. And if you need to in a tight spot, you need the extra boost. There used to be a mini lighter in here. It looks like it got relocated. which is unfortunate because I'd like to keep it in this thing. These things, I don't recommend these. This is something that I picked up at Walmart. And there's a reason I don't recommend them. Go buy it. Just go get a dry bag. They're cheaper. They don't break as easy. It says Tough Latch on the sticker on the side of it. I have another one of these that is currently being held together by a shoestring that I've set up to be a bowstring, and it is literally held together by that. So you can't trust the latch system on these. They're plastic. They're garbage. They'll fall apart eventually. But if you're going to keep it in there and not never open it, like a medical kit or whatever, then fine. Flashlights. You're going to see me with a lot of these. Woohoo! Going to give someone a... Got the strobe function. I recommend carrying one of these in tandem with a headlamp simply because of the signaling properties. I don't like carrying them. Another signal. This is for exactly what you military folks are sitting in there thinking, oh my god, he's got one. You crack the tube, you spin it around, buzzsaw powder. It's an emergency pickup powder. If you have called 911 and you're in the woods, the mini spatula. You grab onto it with a pair of pliers that you have, like your multi-tool, or maybe you're dumb enough to carry those big, like water pliers or an adjustable wrench and you have an extended handle. Or maybe just use it like this because you got tough hands. Wooden spatula, bamboo, bamboo with the end handle cut off. Just something to stir some eggs, cook you up some pancakes or something. General foodstuffs. Does this one work? Yes. Pen light. This one actually works. These are... Huh. I thought these were doubles. They're triplets. Anyway, yep, pen light. Just supplemental light source. Doesn't actually do the strobing function like the other one. Maybe not so good for signaling, but hey, yeah, it's there. Now we gotta stuff some of the stuff back in the daily, and that compass is probably gonna go back in here too. These pouches go with me everywhere. These two. And there's a reason for that. When we get to the black pouch, you'll see why. This is just these are just pouches I got from Walmart, by the way. They're not anything special. There's my mini tin, which has more matches tucked away in it. This is a mini Altoids. This was the one I was going to use for doing miniature char cloth stuff. This is kind of a dumb but clever thing to do. Electrical tape. Take some of the cardboard wrapper out. Get a small thing of Blistex lip balm. Put it in the middle. Little packing hack. Hey, there's the small lighter that's supposed to go in that emergency first aid kit. You'll notice a stunning lack of ferro rods. I have one pair of scissors I really don't like. I hate. These scissors are garbage, but they're good at one thing: sewing. And I don't mean like sewing with fishing line. If you're sewing with fishing line, you're cutting it with a knife or pair of surgical shears. All right, which I do. This is the bigger. This is the bigger needles. This is the stuff for using fishing line. If you have to use fishing line for a thing, I recommend 8 to 10 pound test. Sometimes I would say smaller. Here's why: 8 to 10 pound test is going to hold your canvas together. You can use it on the human body, and it'll hold your skin together. It's going to hurt like a bitch if you have to do it yourself. That's why I always recommend, if you're going out with someone, make sure that they know how to sew the human body back together. I've never had to do it to myself before. Hopefully I never have to. The one time I had an incident where I had that happen, instead of sewing it back together, we actually just super glued it, and it scarred up rather nicely on my hand after pulling a rock out of it. That was a bicycling mess up as a kid. I decided I'd go no hands on a dirt road. Okay, this next item is a little controversial. And the reason for that is that some people use it to steal stuff. This is a Silcott key, or a Wilcox, or I forget what they call it. But what it is basically just 4 squares carved into a piece of metal. It's a little heavy, so you can go up to a building that has a public water access, turn and twist the knob. Effectively stealing water. I keep this. This is not. I have enough springs and stuff. I didn't actually need this. Like around where I live, if I had to go homeless for a while, this thing would be useless. But if you're ever passing through like a city or a bigger environment with lots of businesses, but maybe no clean water, this is how you would get clean water. Clean-ish water. I would recommend boiling it first. I don't recommend the usage of this thing. There's a good reason for it. In some places, it's actually illegal to use these. But if you're in a pinch, maybe a civil war in the United States, Temple would love that one. Civil War! A lot of people, he asked the question, what's hard to make but easy to procure with money? Metal tools like this are sometimes very hard to make if you don't know what you're doing, and hard to procure unless you have money or you're willing to be a thief, which I'm not. And that's my important disclaimer for this thing. If you ever see me use this in a video, I'm going to get permission from a business owner or an owner of the building before I ever use it. Here's why. Stealing water is still a theft of a service. You do not have a right to that building's water. You do not have the right to that building's material. You are stealing access to something that you don't have the right to. I would rather ask permission before using it. In the situation that I can't, however, then whatever. In emergency situations, it's going to be a forgiveness versus permission equation where I'm going to literally be asking for forgiveness rather than waiting for permission. Because, in some situations you could die waiting for someone to show up to ask permission for a thing. And that goes to the manager's manager thing. Yeah. Let's see. Later, Balmac, Blistex. We've already gone over everything in that pouch. And guess what's going to go in this pouch? Actually, probably not, because that Silcott keel. Again, I'm probably saying what that thing is. Another thing you can do, I don't recommend, go buy, on the note of the Silcott key, go buy a adjustable wrench. A very small one that you can fit in your pocket. Or just whip out your Leatherman. If you really, really hate the business that you're stealing water from, which don't steal, it's not nice. So now we're going to get into, in video editing, I would actually remove stuffing this thing back in here, but I've also reinforced this green bag with fishing line, so if the bag ever falls apart, there's like 50 feet of fishing line that is sewn into that bag. Now we're going to get into the real fun stuff. The stuff that everyone wants to talk about. Okay, now. Spring loaded, one-handed. Don't like it because it's halfway serrated. But, if I have to cut a steak or something, I got it. This is more just an antique knife that I got given to me by my great-grandfather. It's a good old Frontier old-timer. This knife is significantly older than me. It's got 3 different blade options on it. It's got the good old that, this one, and I haven't opened this one in a while. This one. So these are old. You can tell this one's been sharpened to hell and back. Probably never going to use it. I like it. It's cool. It's a cool idea, but it's also kind of a family hand-me-down. This is the real meat to go with the potatoes, so to speak. Hobo reel. Just a fishing hook, some electrical tape to hold the fishing line on there. Walk out to a creek or a brook or whatever and just go and hopefully catch you a fish. You know, dig up some worms first. I have a mini shovel somewhere too. Yeah, that one. That's another one that people kind of chuckle at me for, is the mini shovel. Like, why do I carry it? Digging cat holes, digging up worms. That's about it. Oh, maybe digging up a rock or clay or something that might be useful or looks useful at the time. This is the heart and soul of the hobo reel. Miniature tackle box. I'm not going to open it. Well, alright, maybe I will. Maybe I can get away with it this time. It's a little sparse this time, actually, so we're good. Some lures, some hooks, nothing major. Couple swivels. Just something to... This one's double-sided. Just some stuff to, you know, catch a fish, throw it over fire, maybe eat something so you don't starve to death. This goes with my water bottle. It is an emergency ring. This just shows you how much I carry this stuff, right? This is the replacement O-ring for the cap on my water bottle in case I get stupid and decide I'm going to heat it without removing the other one. I don't care for this knife. I don't like it because it's serrated and spring-loaded. I mean, I don't like the serrations on that run up half the blade. I think it's obnoxious. Just give me a straight blade. But they do have their uses, so I do keep one on hand. Now, what are you? Ah, yeah, the real heart and soul of the hobo reel. You're gonna laugh at this. Go to Dollar Tree. Go pick up a headphone case, one for the portable little earphones, right? Go buy some of that beef jerky chew, not chewing tobacco, but the beef jerky chew cans. They're a little smaller. Right? Oh, you're gonna love this. This one's kind of clever. Yeah, there's a friggin' Pokemon on my thing. A Cubone, nonetheless. I thought it was clever because of what makes a Cubone a Cubone. This is the real tackle, the hobo reel. It's got all my little weights. It's got a couple bobbers. It's got a lure. I think I tied a fly, hooked it in there. Quite literally, if you don't already have a hobo reel, this little pouch is how you're going to make it happen, Captain. Now, also, this little pouch is how you're going to do something that's really illegal if you have a walking stick, and I will walk you through that without actually doing it. So this is some South Bend monofilament 12-pound line. It's 100 yards, well, roughly 100. I've used some of it, but if you take a knife and you shave off the excess plastic on the outside, it fits right in the stinking headphone holder, and you can just clamshell it, and you've got all the fishing stuff you'll need. Like, literally, it's a mess. The fishing tackle is a mess, right? But, like, It, it's all that you'll ever need for fishing. Right here. Right here. I could literally, not even kidding, jump on my e-bike right now with these two things in my pocket and my fishing license and go to a river or a creek right now and go catch dinner if I need to. And I have a trick for that involving my walking stick too. It's very legally questionable, but you can do it. It's called a stick. It is called a stick net, and I will get into that later. And there's a reason it's illegal too. It works very well. Um, the only reason I'd recommend doing such a thing is you have to feed a family of 2 or more. The reason I say that is because it's literally. Actually, I'll just walk you through it right now. This is a small example, a scale model of a walking stick. You're going to take You're going to take your lines in every about as long as this actually. You're going to take them and you're going to go to the inlet. If you have a concrete inlet near where you're walking, like say the side of the road or whatever, you're going to put worms on your hooks, but you're not going to put bobbers on them. You're going to take lines and hooks, and let's say this is your this would be the normal length of how far apart you'd want them to be, but let's say this is your walking stick, and you're going to take it like here, 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 and here. Okay, you're going to try to keep them straight as you can so they don't get tangled up, and you're going to grab some paracord. You're going to drill 2 holes in the top and the bottom of your walking stick, perfectly perfectly through, and you're going to tie that paracord to some rocks on that concrete inlet, and you're going to drape your hooks in there with those worms, and anything that happens to be swimming through that is going to go. I'd recommend no more than 5 lines. I know I probably said 6 or 7 when I was doing the here thing. I'd recommend no more than 5. A lot of fish species in the state of Maine, your bag limit is 2. In the state of Maine, literally, all you need is this on an inlet with like 1 paracord strand just kind of holding it, and it'll work. But the reason that you're going to do that, and there's a certain way to tie the knots, it involves drilling some smaller holes that you thread them through, tie the knots on, tie your hook onto the end, yada yada yada. The reason you're going to do that is that when you pull up that walking stick, you're probably going to be pulling up about 5 fish. They might of varying sizes. Some of them you may have to release, some of them you may not. The reason that you're going to leave it on a paracord and you're not going to bother with a bobber, that fish is going to jerk that whole trap everywhere. Everywhere. You're going to see that there are fish on those lines. Some of them may escape, some of them may get off, whatever. But you're going to be able to visibly tell that there are fish on that thing because they're going to yank this thing like crazy. They're going to go ballistic. I don't recommend it. It's illegal in most states. But if you're in a survival situation and there's something that you're going to learn, is that what's legal and what's survivable are 2 different things. And if you have to use a stick net, use a stick net. If it's the difference between you starving to death and living, live. Choose life. But yes, heart and soul of that. Water, water, water everywhere. The human body is, if I remember correctly, somewhere around 74.9 or 75% water. If you cannot go 3 days without water or longer without eating something that has moisture in it. This is water filtration and treatment kit. These are, you can see, I've even got the water treatment tablets. This is a backup. This is in case I lose my single wall water bottle for boiling water over a campfire. Except for the bandana that's in here. Bandana and zip tie that are in here, that is for filtering out debris before it gets into my bottle. If you have to mud puddle it. But I'm probably not going to use my water bottle for that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this water bag in here, and I'm going to use the bandana on it and dump the cleaner water into my bottle and boil it. Why am I not going to use the water filter? Why am I not using the aqua tabs? Situationalism. I can boil water for an infinite number of times in that bottle until the bottle wears out or whatever. The other items in this bag are, what's that term we used to use in carpentry when I was helping Brian? Expendable. They're disposable items. They're, replenishables. You have to buy more of them. Especially the aqua tabs. The portable aqua PA plus tabs. They're great. They work great. But once they're gone, they're gone. Cat hole digger. This is, I jokingly said a cat hole. This is a, put the rest of this stuff away, that way we're not making a complete mess and a buffoon of ourselves here. The reason that I recommend a shovel, you can carve a shovel. With all the woodworking stuff I have, yes, I can carve a shovel. It's the amount of time it takes to carve the shovel. Now this is only part of it. This is an Ozark Trail item. I have also sharpened the blade on it a little bit, but obviously not enough to cut myself. I find that sharpening a shovel to that degree is not really a good idea. This stupidly comes with a little bottle opener on it, which, I mean, yeah, sure, whatever. And a compass in the handle, and blah, 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 blah. Let's be real about what you're really going to use this for. You're going to use this for either digging clams, worms, or digging up a hole to poop in. You're not going to be using this thing for digging a trench. If you do, you seek help. If you want to try to dig a trench with this thing, go for it. Go right on ahead. Nice hollow handles that you can tuck in some matches or whatever. I personally don't do that. I keep a ferro rod on my keychain with a Bic lighter. I have a knife on my belt. I have probably 3 other ferro rods that I haven't even found yet. Matches everywhere. None of them are stormproof, unfortunately. That's going to be an investment in the future, because, you know, just because I don't have a thing doesn't mean I'm not a firm believer in carrying it. And it's got the little pick for doing pickaxing or whatever. Yeah, you saw me roll my eyes about that. This is literally just for digging a latrine and take a dump in. Or digging up worms. Actually, I probably would use it to dig up clams, because I can actually get down into the dirt and grab a clam. I believe, I'll be crazy, I believe that's it, which means that we get to get into the backup pouch. It's backup pouches. Now, one of these pouches actually isn't a backup, it's a hygiene pouch. And it's not even really a backup so much as it is literally the hygiene pouch. And we're going to be thinning this stuff down too, like really paring it down. Most of the stuff that you're seeing me go through right now is stuff that stays at home or in the car. I don't carry 90% of this stuff, except for a fixed bladed knife. These, I would carry these despite their weight. The hygiene pouch stays in the car. Most of the stuff that I carry has a toothbrush in it. I carry chewing gum, and realistically speaking, if you don't know how to splash your face with water, you're not a human being. You need to go seek help, or you need to go get, checked. Oh, that needs to go back in there too. That's like the most important thing to having a hobo reel, is having tackle to use with it. Which is why it usually stays right on top. Because it's going to be the first thing and probably the number one thing that I'm going to reach and grab for. Is going to be the hobo reel, because that's going to be what I'm going to be doing spending most of my time on, is getting food. You're probably also wondering, why doesn't he have snare wire? Why isn't he covering hunting stuff? We'll prep the next pouch and I'll cover that here in a minute. So these are actually something that goes with the shelter systems. So what this is some pretty decent grade utility line with some wire holders, and these are the stretchy bits that make a tarp holder work. These are for camping. They're a quick deployment system that I came up with. Realistically, technically speaking, you can get away with using one. I carry two because you never know, like what's going to happen, right? If you have two tarps and two of those, you have two different shelters. Is basically what I'm getting at. This is actually become part entertainment bag, part hygiene, but like deck of cards, good old fashioned, 52 card pickup cards, handful of dice. I recommend 6, but this one only has 5. You can go to Dollar Tree and get 6. It's not a big deal. And with a hygiene kit, just something to preoccupy yourself. I have to take the stuff out of this and actually wash the pouch itself, because the outer pouch has gotten fucking filthy. But you get in the back here. This is dry deodorant. This is spray-on deodorant. It is Cool Essence. It's some kind of cute watermelon aloe thing. It's alright. It's women's Dove, but it smells good enough that if you're a man, you're fine using it. Like literally, it's not even a, oh, I'm secure in my sexuality thing. No, it's a good scent that, yeah. Barbasol, mouthwash, hand sanitizer. Couple this with the pouch that has my toothbrush in it, and generally speaking, for about and these are anti-allergy eye drops. So I have a weird thing with my eye in the morning. Yada yada yada. We're not gonna get into it now. We'll do the gear editing last, actually, because we have a fun electronics section part of this that we're going to get into after we're done with the going through the pouches and evaluating what's here. This right here. This was an early model survival pouch that's kind of become just a spare parts pouch. Regular deodorant, measuring cups, spoons, can opener, the stuff that you don't. This pouch, I came up with this pouch as this like idea of like turning survival into home kind of thing. It was a clever idea at the time, but I'll show you what happened with it. This thing right here is what happened to it. I bought a sewing kit. If you've been to Dollar General, you know what this is, and if you're into sewing, they're a nightmare kit. All they do is burst open in your bag, and you have needles everywhere. That's what happened to this pouch. I've since found a better sewing kit that doesn't have that problem. This is literally just to refill the sewing kit that's there. The only exception to that is there's a utility knife in there, a razor blade knife in there. I personally don't use them, but like, if I got black pants and a blue shirt and a job at Walmart, then maybe I'd use it. Good old-fashioned stick deodorant. With the spray-on stuff that we keep around here, I really don't like using it. It's the aluminum chlorohydrate stuff, and to be frank, it's not good for you. But if you're in a pinch, it can limit the smell. This whole pouch is going to be just removed. I have the Army can openers. My multi-tool has a can opener on it that I know how to use. I mean, literally don't even need this can opener that's in here. And as far as the fork, spoons, and knife goes, I can eat off of my knife. It's not a big deal. And spoons, I carve. I mean, it's a spoon. It works. This was carved using kind of specialty tools. I bought a small wood carving kit at Walmart that had the little spoon digger in it. If I'm being real though, if you're out in the bush, having to carve a spoon is probably the least inconvenient thing that you'd have to do, and it's a good way to keep yourself busy. Woodworking with a knife in the woods is a good way to keep your hands busy as long as you do it safely. Always carry a first aid kit if you do though. Yeah, actually that's a good place for that. This whole pouch is going to get disassembled. But also with the cooking kit, I don't need this. I have sewing kits. I have all kinds of stuff. This is what I meant by excess auxiliary pouches and stuff that I don't need. Like, I'm even going to take this off because it's going to go on a different pouch. Okay, now we're going to have a conversation about electronics. We're getting into the portion of things for cameras and batteries and electronics, all that fun jazz. So typically speaking, when it comes to basic charging, and you're out in the woods prolonged, these work great. Has a little built-in solar panel. Don't recommend it. It's kind of junk. Get something bigger. They make better versions of this now, which I'm interested in getting. This is the 21 watt solar panel. It puts out top current it puts out is 3.7 amps. The reason I got this was literally just to charge these. However, I did find something that you're going to get a kick out of. It's really amusing. It takes 3 days to charge one of these to full, which is fine because the gaming and camera stuff that I'm going to show you that this runs off of, one of these will last you a friggin' week. I've got 2 of them to myself and 2 more that I'm going to be giving to my fiance if I can find the both of them. If not, whatever. But like, if you have the auxiliary, if you have the smaller battery packs, this thing will charge them in a day. But like direct charging your phone, maybe 60-70% in a day. Good phone charge on about a 5,000 milliamp phone. The stats on this are kind of hard to read, but I'll try my best. It says 20,000 milliamp hour, 3.7 volt rated capacity, about 75 watt hours. I'm going to be going over the video game stuff in this later, and I will explain my reasoning for what I'm about to say. Now, still keeping that solar panel though. I did run into something really interesting that has to do with that solar panel. Some USB charging stuff, mostly USB-C, and power tools. Now, Hyper Tough, Walmart brand, right? kind of the joke of the joke around the campfire, right? Wrong. So wrong. Me and my fiance went for a ride about, I think we were out for a good 2 hours. This 1.5 amp hour drill battery right here was charged up in that time in the car. That was on a USB-C charging kit. Now this is a 4 amp hour. It's going to take significantly longer to do it. But just to prove that the battery itself actually works, so that way you don't think I'm just joshing you. There you go. This is a hammer drill. I have some bits for it somewhere on this table. Alright. 2 different sizes I keep. I just dropped my GoPro, or my, yeah. I keep a Phillips head. I keep a 1-inch auger bit. This one's seen better days. I'm going to be buying new ones. I keep this. And I keep this. Why don't I keep the smaller ones? The smaller ones snap in half in your bag. That's all that it is. These 3 hole sizes are mostly what you're going to be using for 90% of the stuff that you build when woodworking. This 1-inch shaft is good for log cabin pegs. These are good for making peg sizes that are smaller, for smaller projects, like making a peg and stick stretch rack for tanning, or amplifying on that stick net thing that I was talking about before by making it bigger. Or maybe you just want to build some furniture. You know, this with the hatchet, you're good to go. It takes like 5 seconds to use these things, and they are amazing. Yes, I did the voice. But this one doesn't have the ability to use the flashlight portion of the drill, which is fine, whatever. However, you take this. This is an inverter for a drill battery. I thought this was pretty darn neat, and the 50 bucks I spent on it has since been worth it. I've used this thing to charge my friggin' laptop, man. Only good for 1 charge, but it's a laptop. You know, if you're doing that kind of stuff, you should really carry 2 of these. Anyway, this combo right here, I can charge my camera, my little waterproof camera, the battery packs for it, for a month. A month, like, never have to do anything else. It only has 2 batteries with it because I've lost the 3rd. Dog. But with the size of the memory card that's in my camera, which is considerably large, I can probably video myself out in the bush for about a week without running out of video memory space on the card. You probably may see a week's worth of footage of me doing something at some point. But I won't be doing it alone because I'm not operating a camera and building a thing or surviving for a week by myself. It's not going to happen. I'm going to go stir crazy. I'm going to start peeing on trees to mark my territory and scratching myself in places and making monkey noises, and it's not going to be pretty. Could I do it? Yeah, sure. Do I want to do it? No. No, I do not. Now, the gaming part of this, the why I have the video games and gaming stuff attached to this video, we're going to get into that in just a moment. Okay. Got a solar panel here. You've seen the battery packs. Okay. We're going to talk game theory in the wilderness. We're going to discuss the options. All 4 options. We're going to start with the first one and why I say no. Cell phone. Can you? Yes. Should you? No. Heck no. Don't do it. Uh, it's your communications, it's your emergency beacon, it's your everything. You hit 911 on that keypad, and the first thing you're going to be doing is talking to an emergency responder. You want this battery good and full. It's also, if you got Google Maps or some other topographical map resource, no. This is a survival tool. Communicate telecoms tool. Don't. Just no. No. Um, Keep it topped off at about 80-85%. These lithium batteries don't like to be stored at 100%. But if you're using your phone on a daily basis, topping off to 100 really doesn't matter. Not really. I like Nintendo. They're great people. Don't take this into the woods with you. Leave it in the car. Leave it at home. The Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo Switch 2. Here's why. Good selection of games. Great selection of Nintendo products that you have access to with internet access for a lot of it, because it has to ID that you have the licensing and yada yada yada. Unless you have the physical cartridges, which I do with some of my games. Leave it at home. Just leave it at home. You'll be better off. So that leaves to the last two: the big tablet versus the small tablet. I'm going to say go with the small tablet. Go get some offline games. Purchase some PlayStation 1 games. Go get a PlayStation emulator. Rip them into CD files that can be read by the PlayStation emulator. Put a decent sized memory card and use this. Use the small one. Here's why. PlayStation 1 games play great on this thing. Okay, anyway. But if you can find a way to rip Game Boy games and Game Boy Advance games, like literally, this thing is the bomb. I will show you why later. But if you're looking to play something more along the lines of a ripped version of Super Mario 64 or Resident Evil 1 or 2 on the PlayStation 1, or maybe Duke Nukem Time to Kill, you're going to want something with a little bit more balls. Unfortunately, when you get something with a little bit more balls, we're also talking about more battery consumption. So, it is very important to me to keep the batteries for keeping my hands busy, keeping out of trouble, separate from the camera operations and emergency camera stuff. That is a very important thing to know. Now, this is also going to be an electronics gear review. Temu, weirdly enough, very cheaply, under 20 bucks, had this really nice tablet with Bluetooth clip-on controller. In theory, if you had the stuff to rip your own DS games, I'm not going to say that's what I did or didn't do, you could take those saved games, those digital copies, and put them on a bigger tablet. And you could play DS or 3DS games on this tablet setup. Would I recommend it? Some games, yeah. DS, DSi, sure. 3DS, no. Don't do that. Do not do that. Never do that. Unless you have a really powerful tablet and the batteries to back it up. And that's really the point. Like, when it comes to gaming in the wilderness, do not do it unless you have the battery backups to back up your threat. If you don't have the batteries to back up your balls, pack up your balls and put them away. And go find something that doesn't use batteries. Go get 2 decks of Yu-Gi-Oh cards and duel yourself, or a deck of regular playing cards and play solitaire, or play Yahtzee with yourself, or something. Carve a chessboard. Boredom in the woods is dangerous. There are some very easy, lightweight ways to deal with it. Now, generally speaking, PlayStation 1 games and 64 games. I like to play those on a bigger screen like a TV or something. I'm not a big, like, handheld person on those. DS games, yeah, I do. I like DS games. However, if we're talking about going as light as possible, using as little battery as possible, this is the combo I'm going to walk with. The cheaper tablet, the smaller tablet, with a strap-on controller and some extra batteries. And I'm just going to go, right? The Nintendo Switch 2, I mean, unless I'm taking off for good, or if I'm going to be like at a doctor's office or something, I'm actually probably just going to take this anyway. Um, I have a small Game Boy Advance library that I've built up over the years that I've been ripped on to, various memory cards. This is one of them. Game Boy games too. Like handhelds, I love handheld games because like you can keep yourself busy and do the thing. I like Android tablets because they're open source, mostly open source. If you know what you're doing, you can actually modify them to be 100% open source, but they just work better and are better in my opinion. Um, I can still play Call of Duty on that tablet. I can load up Diablo Immortal on it. I can play Raid Shadow Legends. None of these are sponsored, by the way, but I can do this stuff as long as I have an internet connection, which is where the Starlink stuff is going to come in that we don't yet have because we can't yet afford. I want to get the roaming package. It's $170 something a month. It's just I don't have the money to fund it. Okay, so let's talk briefly about what we have to put all this stuff in and why we're going so small and lightweight. Okay, so number one, actually we'll do the gear edit after I cover this last thing. Electronics and eyeglasses. So I don't wear eyeglasses, but I do have electronics. Keeping some kind of small repair kit. I have an iFixit kit somewhere in this house. Carrying that stuff with your electronics is not a terrible idea. 9 times out of 10, if you're in the bush though, and something breaks like that, it's probably broken for good and you're going to end up replacing it, which is why I always recommend the On brand tablets from Walmart and the Temu stretch controllers to go with them, because if you break them, you're not out a shit ton of money. That's the big point. The big tablet is actually a typing and video editing tablet that happens to have the ability to play 3DS games on it. The Nintendo Switch, it's a Nintendo Switch 2. It's $500. I'm gonna leave that thing at home. I'm not taking that to the woods. That's not going with me in any way, shape, or form. If I'm gonna go do a survival challenge where I'm like alone, where I'm out for months on end, I've never been on the show. I don't think I ever will be. I have a heart condition. I probably can't be. Like, I literally have to carry an extra bag just for my pills. I would literally need like 6 months to a year's worth of my pills, or they'd have to be airdropped to me as the challenge progresses, which is not a position I want to be in ever. Like, I have no doubt the people that do the alone challenge are probably very trustworthy and they'd probably do it, but like, no, just no, flat no. And that's another thing too. People with heart conditions, when you're doing stuff like this, take your medications with you, take your nitros with you, take an emergency beacon with you, something that you can just click a button and call it a day. I have a button combination on my cell phone that I can push, plus one touchscreen thing that has to be pushed with my thumb, and basically it works as an emergency beacon. It calls 911, and basically it plays an automated audio alert that gives my GPS coordinates, my name, my condition, and says that there's an emergency. It's just a macro that was programmed into my phone. I don't know how to do it. I had a friend do it for me. If you have a friend that's talented enough to do that, do that. I think that all phones should have it. It is something that I think should be standard on all phones, where you push the power button, the volume up button, and you push your thumb or finger on the screen, and instant macro name, location, address of living, like at residence, uh, driver's license number, gives it to the police, fire, whoever is doing that. They go to your GPS coordinates. Maybe you're in search and rescue territory, whatever. They can figure that stuff out pretty quickly and get to you hopefully within an hour. If you have heart failure, however, what I have is a left bundle branch blockage. There is a chance, at least a 0.5% chance, even with my medication, that I could be doing a thing and just like lightning struck me, be dead. That chance is amplified, by the way, by my weight, by my stress, and other things. Now, here's the catch. If I get my BMI well below what it is, which is 45, which is terrible, it's atrocious. I'm just under 300 pounds on a normal day. If I can get back down to below 2, or at 220, most of what I have, I'll still be on the medication for a lot of it, but most of it will handle itself. It'll rebalance, and I'll be okay. If I go 30 pounds in the wrong direction, I'm back in the hospital. Like, not permanently, but semi-permanently, until they can get my weight and my water off of my organs back down to a degree. Yeah. So, here's the good thing about being out in the woods and that condition. You don't have any salt with you. Like, the salt that you get is from the earth. It's from whatever's in your berries and harvested vegetables. It's in your meat that you naturally harvest. Whatever sodium those creatures have eaten, that's what you have to live with. And it's basically the perfect lifestyle for someone with my condition. However, that's not the world we live in. That's the part of life that we work so hard to avoid has the diet that would save my life. 100%. The world that we do live in, because we want to, and I keep looking down at my screen, my camera's all the way up here, and my face is all the way down here. I'm trying to make sure I'm staying on camera and no one is getting in it that doesn't want to be. Anyway, back to the lifestyle thing and what's killing me. I live in a world where prepackaged meals are everywhere. Steak costs $15 to $20 a pound or a piece, and if you want to buy for more than just yourself, and when you don't live alone, you have to buy for more than just yourself, that turns into $30, $40, $50 really quick, sometimes even $60. And by the way, there's no guarantee that that steak hasn't been treated with God knows what. And I'm kind of staring off because this has kind of got me in a little bit of emotional right now. Here's my problem. There is so much garbage in our food, so much junk, so many sodium additives and preservatives. It is near impossible for me to keep my sodium level below 2,000 milligrams. It's just not very feasible. So, I don't know what to do, and I have a good idea what I should do, and it involves a camper, a car to haul it because it's a under 3,000 pound camper. And I do have the vehicle to haul it. It'll haul 3,500 pounds at least one way. What I should do is take me, my fiance, and our pets, jump in the camper, go get a carport building and a piece of property, drop the camper off, build the carport around the camper, and instead of going to the friggin' grocery store, live off of what's on the property. There are some pieces of land that are big enough to do that. I'm not going to get into that topic because I've been talking about that for weeks, but I don't want to do it. Anyway, back to the gear bag. We're done talking about the health thing. I have a small eye allergy. I wake up in the morning, it's all puffy and shit. That's why I keep the eye drops. Back to the kit. This right here is a far better sewing kit than those plastic things. It's got a real zipper. Most of the stuff, except for the thimble and the measuring tape, which I have used, keep to themselves pretty well. A couple of the thread things have fallen out, but whatever. This is the clothing repair sewing kit. This is the, oh, I ripped a hole in my crotch sewing kit. This is not the, oh, my tent is ripped sewing kit. I recommend keeping 2 different types of sewing kits and learn how to use them. And that's the important thing of all this gear. It does nothing if you don't know how to use it. Like, as an example, I have 12 colored pencils. I have paper. I could sit here and draw you the most gorgeous mountain range in the world, or I could, draw stick people. Or, use the colors to make maps. That's another fun thing, too. Your eyeballs and the compass. Maps and legends. Oh, yes. All the fun stuff. Different colors can represent different things. I would recommend saving the red as a do not go zone thing. Like, if you're in a valley, you can start by marking off the mountains that you see in a circle around your body. Okay. And whatever you can see from the hill that you're standing on. And just start filling in the blanks. Like, you can go to a marsh. Oh, that marsh has a sand bog that can kill me. Red X, do not go here. Green circle or blue circle. Or maybe just a general pencil marking. Okay, safe to go here. Carpenter's pencils. If you're going to be in the woods, you're going to be woodworking to any degree, carry at least 3 carpenter's pencils. Those are the square ones that you sharpen with your knife. Where did mine go? Where did you go? This is why I said carry 3. You're gonna misplace them. You're gonna misplace at least one at one point in time or another. And you're gonna feel like a moron for not being able to find it because you just had it like yesterday. Or like a few minutes ago even. Another good thing to have in your bag is a small tube of super glue. But make sure you keep that in a Ziploc bag. So this is the portion where we start actually disassembling the gear and going through the stuff that goes in the car or goes with me as a person. Now, before we go too far, I know I mentioned a power drill and I have a hammer drill. Hammer drills are great for building log cabins. They are, because you can make 1-inch pegs and start cutting pegs, which is great. Is it necessary? No, not really. Here's your peg driver, right? If we're talking about survival and you're not afraid to put in the back work, and you know you're going to be out there for a long time, maybe the electrical drill isn't your cup of tea. Maybe you want to go with something a little bit more traditional. The bow saw. Maybe an extra boiling cup, or maybe a rock for melting, and maybe you can chip the rock into a bowl or something, or make a wooden bowl for melting red pine resin into to keep the pegs in place. If you're out in the woods like that, though, if you're out like that and you're building, you've done something wrong. Like, you're running from the authorities, or you got into the wrong airplane, or, you know, life just didn't go your way, and you're eating berries and rabbit turds for nutrients because you didn't know, like, you didn't know what you were getting yourself into. Okay. The hatchet, the bow saw, and this can build you a log cabin. Can. Not a very big one, but it can build you a sturdy enough semi-permanent shelter that you can survive more or less indefinitely if you had to. If you have to. I also recommend, a fixed-bladed knife and a ferro rod or big lighter. Actually carry both. Do carry both. And some people say carry a Zippo too. I don't like Zippos. They don't function too well in the wind. And really, what are the odds you're going to be able to distill ethanol in the middle of nowhere? But if you have the right tools, a ferro rod, something that'll last you a good while, maybe a blow tube, and you know how to build a bow drill. That's the other thing too about this stuff. Like, the more you have knowledge of things in life, like how to make your own cordage, how to plants, how to make pine resin glue, how to make colored wax to do crayons or whatever. These are good things to use, like how to make a charcoal writing utensil. They're good to know. But generally speaking, if you can carry the gear that'll make it so you don't have to do these things on your own, you're doing good. So on to the note of car versus person. And no, I'm not talking about taking on a vehicle with my bare hands. Although, give me some wrenches. Here's the thing. You're going to want to carry as little as possible on your person. But there are going to be some things that you're going to want to carry. The hobo reel is an example. You're going to want to take that with you. The sewing needles from the hobo reel kit. That's a no-brainer too. An emergency shelter is another no-brainer. Something you can just quick deploy to keep the water off you. A tarp with some paracord, right? No doubt. That's what these pouches were designed to do. But the conversation needs to be had, and we're going to shift the camera angle. It's going to get a little disorienting. We're going to go over to the table, and we're going to go over the car versus everyday carry conversation. And the reason I'm saying car versus everyday carry is because of car and home. Stuff that you're going to leave at home or leave in your car and not take with you when you hit the woods. So, like, okay, car. Am I going to be building a log cabin in the woods? No. Are there other things that you can use this to make? Yes. Is it a heavy item? Yes. No. Actually, it's very light. These two items are significantly lighter, like 90% of what I have on the table. This is how this conversation is going to work. Practical, weight, price. If it's not practical, it doesn't belong on your person. If it is practical, keep it on your person. Good. If it's practical enough to keep in the car, then that goes in its own pile. If it goes in the house or it needs to stay home, then it needs to stay home. Okay? And we're going to take some stuff to use as examples of what stays home. Also, another recommendation. This is something... Oh, hey, look. I just found my carpenter's pencil. That's awesome. These things are awesome. Now, something that people don't buy. It's like $5. You used to be able to buy them for $1 at Dollar Tree. I haven't been able to find them. A year-to-year schedule planner. Not for normal survival, but day-to-day life. Schedule your grocery trips. Make a permanent grocery list of staple items that you need to get. Write down when you're going to need to get them week to week or month to month. Create an actual food budget. Stop going to the Alright. In the back of these, there's a note section. Right here. This is blank. I haven't done one myself yet. Write down what you use and when you use it every month. I'm going to tell you a little secret to life. This is going to sound so stupidly simple. You're going to be like, oh, no duh. Your food budget is oftentimes overinflated by junk. I'm probably the perfect example of this. The last time I did a massive food purchase and my car was down, we had to have it delivered by Walmart. My fiance had Walmart Plus. I stupidly ordered 3 boxes of variety packs of bags of chips. Great calories, but empty calories. They have no nutritional value whatsoever. Good for literally tack into your lunch and call it a day. But me and my fiance have been doing this other thing where we've been doing Carnation instant breakfast or breakfast essentials shakes instead of, like a solid breakfast. Write that on your list. Get the 60 packet box once a month. There's 2 of you. It is 1 meal a day. It's $30. 30 something, or it's like $30 something right now. It can help you lose weight. Write down gauge how quickly your household goes through bread. Stop doing this day-to-day BS. Where you're like, oh, I want hot dog buns today. No, don't do that. Do not do that. Use general white bread. Just use it. Save your money. Don't buy the extra crap. Yes, the extra crap tastes better. It functions better, blah, 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 but you can make a cheeseburger on a piece of bread just as simple as you can a hamburger bun. Okay? Write down how quickly you're going through your bread. Just write it down. If it's once a week, once every other week, fine. Or if you're like Tim Pool and you've just kind of abandoned bread altogether, perfect. You're doing great. But to those of us simpletons who really, really need to start making bread at home, which actually I have the stuff to do that. And I need to do that today at some point. I need to make actual bread. Well, number one, there's a lot of sodium in regular bread, and if you make it yourself, you can kind of adjust that. But the schedule and planner books with a month-to-month grocery budget written in the back of the notes, altered for seasonal purchasing. It's important. It is important to hold to it too. Like, no one wants to be stuck eating red beans and rice. No one wants that. The reason budgeting your food is important and why it's important to write down. Also, write down in these notes. Take a page on these notes. Write down the debts that you owe. Go through and just jot them down. You don't even have to add them up as a sum total. Just write them down. Go to your credit score. See which ones are bogging down your credit. Write a special section for your derogatories. That way you have a checklist. Take from your money, your monthly money that you're making. I'm earning approximately, rough take, $3,500. 3,000-ish, rough take, before taxes. My debts in total, if I knocked out the stuff that I actually owe, I'd probably only owe mandatory payment probably right around $400 a month. Um, but again, that's if I could knock out like the purchases, like the purchase on the camper, the purchase of a car for somebody that I was helping out, a personal loan that I took out to repair another vehicle. Um, if I were to pay off all of those debts and close all the accounts attached to them and have zero accounts, my credit score would probably be up around 700. Um, and I'd be in a very good place to actually buy a house. I'm not right now. I'm actually lower 600s right now. To be changing rather quickly. A lot of my accounts are going to be closing because I'm going to be paying them off. Going to your credit score, and this is not, I'm not a financial advisor, this is just general good advice. Go to your credit score page on Credit Karma, your bank, or whatever. Find these two things. Credit card, or actually three things. Credit card amounts that you've gone over. You've either hit your 100% marker that you've utilized your credit or you've gone over it. Or, and anything derogatory, anything in collections. Collections and derogs need to be deleted. If you can pay them off or get them canceled out, do it today. If you can do it, absolutely get rid of them. Anything with multiple accounts, oh my god, I'm gonna go here. Student loans. They don't affect your credit score. They don't. They affect your credit accounts. They don't tell you that. The longer you're in school, depending on how your student loans are partitioned, the more accounts are open in your name, affecting how you can use your credit score negatively in a way, positively in another. Paying them off is a positive effect on your credit score. Keeping them open has the negative effect of making it so you can use fewer credit accounts when you need to. So if you want to go get a big old home mortgage and you have 6 open accounts and 4 of those 6 are from student loans, guess what? You're not going to get anywhere with that bank on that house. I guarantee you you're not. So if you can either have them forgiven, deleted, removed, paid off, or taken off of your credit account in any way possible to open up accounts, do so. You have, so on general principle, the most you can have is like 8 accounts. That's what they told me. Was 8 credit accounts. And that is for your whole credit score. That's auto loan, home loan, student loans. And student loans plural is because they don't just sum it all up into one loan either. In some cases, it's like 6 different or 8 different loan packages that get dumped onto your credit score, and that's what they don't tell you when you go to submit for college. Be ready for that. If you don't want to have that happen, maybe you should have your house in order and your car in order before you go to college. I'm just saying, make sure that you have everything taken care of and you have that level of John Goodman and Danny Wahlberg? No. One of the Wahlberg brothers was in a movie. They were talking about gambling money and what is called FU money. Make sure you have that FU money invested so you can cover your monthly, your house is good with that forever metal roof, and you got a little crap box car, and you take the rest of whatever you got and you just dunk it into a savings that collects interest or some kind of trust that collects interest, and you use that to pay your taxes, so that way no matter what happens you're never without transportation and you're never homeless. That's the level. That is a certain level of FU that makes you untouchable. You don't like the job that you're in, or you get a crappy boss, and he's not paying you the greatest, you can just sit there, shrug, and say, all right, screw you. I quit this job. I'm going to go to the next job. That's FU money. That's important. That is the most important financial advice I've ever seen from a movie. Ever. I don't even remember the name of the damn movie. Oh, man. But it really is. It's like the best thing you can do. But it all starts with one thing. And really it does. Getting your life organized. And on a religious note, I'm not going to... Oh, alright, so I am a Christian, so I can go here. But, like, get right with God. Pray. Go to church. You know, and this does apply to other religions too, but, like, you will find that if you are right with the guiding principles of your spirit, as a Christian, I can say, reading my Bible, praying to God, speaking to people in the community, in the Christian community, it helps. In more ways than one. It can help survival wise too, because, like, a lot of the times the people in your church community, or your mosque community, or your synagogue community, they're gonna be your survival support system if things go downhill. Like, and okay, let's go here. We're here. We're gonna go here. Everyone thinks survival, bugging out, bugging in, it's all about system collapse or blah blah blah. I'm going to speak from a little bit of personal experience and say those things can happen, but they're not likely. You're more likely to end up homeless, without a car, without a job, and those eventualities are more important to prepare for, in my mind, I figure, than bugging out in the woods. If you've gotten to the point where you're bugging out in the woods, living out of a log shelter that you made yourself, you've made so many of the wrong damn choices, it's not even funny. And yes, I just cussed. Like, you need to stop what you're doing, go to your church, synagogue, mosque, whatever, temple, get on your knee and pray to your God and seek help from your local religious community. At that point, you have screwed up so bad. I wouldn't recommend Islam, but that's a personal beef that I have with the religion. Read the book sometime in English and you will see why. Even if you're an atheist, a community support group, go to them. If you're at the point where you have no choice but to take some sticks and put them together to make a hut in the woods, and it's not a choice that you made freely, if you were forced into that situation because of bad decisions, stop making decisions. Go to your church, go to your support group, go to your community, go to your group of friends. It's time for an intervention. You have gone too far. Now, if you're going out there and doing what I'm going to be doing with this Akaso 4K EK 7000 and the batteries that go with it and your cell phone, and you're going to be out there recording yourself doing this stuff to make a YouTube channel, maybe build a survival community built around a little bit of gaming, okay, whatever. I don't mind putting up a video of me chillaxing in the woods for like 2 or 3 hours, playing some Mega Man Legends, and putting up the video footage while I'm sitting next to a hand-built shelter lean-to on my and I'm playing on my tablet, sipping on some hot cocoa or some coffee. Hot cocoa. Ooh. Oh, I don't have any. Have coffee though. These are all things that I can do for the channel. Absolutely, 100%. I have the ability to put a recording feature, a screen capture feature on my tablet that can save to the memory card. No sweat. No sweat. Just sit there, play Game Boy games, put it in the bottom corner, maybe catch some footage of myself doing stuff. You know, and maybe discuss some other topics. But that's a choice. If you're doing it because you're forced into that situation economically, and we're gonna move this back down because we're done with the gear talk for now. We're gonna get into the gear editing next. If you're forced into a situation where you have to do that, you've made too many of the wrong choices. You have. You have a family. You have a community. You have a town. You have a government, for that matter. The federal government, the resources that the federal government have, yes, they have restrictions. But I'm gonna kind of say it. If you are you alone and you go to DHS, it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman, and you go there crying your eyes out because you can't feed yourself and you haven't eaten for a few days, they will help you. They will give you resources. Like, a lot of DHS workers are that, separate the family, blah, 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 blah. They're paid to cause emotional tumultuousness and chaos amongst families. There are those out there like that. But as a father, I can tell you as a fact, if I can't put food onto the table for my wife and kids, feed my animals, whatever, I would rather have them go to a place that they can be fed and sheltered and taken care of than selfishly think I'm going to do it all by myself if I can't do it all by myself. If I'm in that kind of a situation, I'm going to make that call. Do I want to? Hell no. No one wants to make that damn call. No one. But it's the same issue as like having a will when you're in your 30s, right? You don't really think you need one, but you should. Take the $1,500 or whatever your lawyer's going to charge you, and just write up a simple little, everything gets sold and the profits get divvied up amongst this, and this person, Simple stuff like that. Just keep it simple, stupid. Or maybe you have one person in mind that you want to give it to, or whatever your situation is. It's not a bad thing to have advance directives. And, being put in the hospital for over a week, and poked and prodded and blood drawn, and it was humbling, and it really brought a sense of mortality and reality to my life that I didn't have before. Like, I thought everything was just going to be fine, kosher, hunky-dory, everything would work itself out. But there's a certain reality to that, too. Like, things don't just work themselves out. You oftentimes have to work on them yourself. And that's why we're doing the survival bag. That's why I have a dry mouth and I'm just constantly running my suck. But we're going to wrap this up. We're going to wrap this up with a gear edit session. Okay, so obviously the camera gear, I'm a content creator. It's a no-brainer. We keep this. But we need to keep it set aside somewhere. It's going to go in a pouch. Actually, I have an idea as to what pouch it's going to go into, too. So, it's going to go into a separate pouch. Actually, the extra crap pouch that I had tossed aside because I wanted to reset the pouch is actually going to be the pouch that I'm going to put my camera gear and batteries in. And if I can get away with putting the inverter and the other battery in it, that's great too. Alright. So gaming stuff. This is all you need. $15 controller from Temu. Under sub $100 tablet from Walmart. Make yourself some ROMs off of your homemade games not your homemade games, but the games that you bought yourself. If you don't have them, go buy them and go buy the device to rip them. It's not that hard to do. They even have tutorials that come with the devices nowadays. Slap them on a tablet. Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, original Game Boy, Game Gear, that era, perfect. You don't really need anything beyond that. Oh, SNES, NES. PlayStation 1. Yeah. So that's a key. The cell phone is a pocket on-person item. So it doesn't need to be put in a sack. It doesn't need to be put in a bag. You just kind of set it aside somewhere so it doesn't get lost in the shuffle. The scheduler. Same thing as the cell phone. Set it aside because it needs to stay out. You need to keep your schedule planner and your budget planner separate. And keep a pen with it also, like a pen or a pencil. A mechanical pencil would be actually my recommendation for that. Write down your doctor's appointments. Write down everything that you're going to plan to do, that you have plans for. Trust me, no matter how good your memory is, you're never going to remember every little detail that you have planned out there. This thing will help with that. Okay. So, sewing kit with the super glue in it for the clothes. No doubt, right? Like, you're gonna have to sew something back together at some point. That goes. We'll put it in the electronics bag. Actually, we'll just put it right there for now. Oh, wearables. Don't be afraid. It makes you look like a dork. It does. These hats, these boondoggle hats, I call them, boonie hats that you can get from like an army barracks or whatever. Order one on friggin' Temu or whatever. They're great hats. Don't make fun of the back of the neck. You'll get sunburn more so than anywhere else. Back of your neck. It's even got the little string to put down around your chin if it's high windage, so that we don't lose your hat. A good hat is a good thing to have. These are good hats. And I really, really do like, yeah. You're out fishing, you're out hunting, whatever. The sun's out, bearing on the back of your neck. The last thing you want is to get neck burnt. You're going to want to put that flat down and do the thing. Okay? I like to wear mine kind of like a cowboy hat. Solar panel. This is a separate carry. This goes in the electronics bag all the time. My tablet, the big tablet for video editing and otherwise, also goes with it. But as a general rule, this is a laptop bag that does not carry a laptop. I do have a laptop. Actually, that's what I started my streaming on. Basic writing kit. This one is the thing that I keep in my pocket. This is the thing that people see in my cargo pocket and they laugh because it looks stupid and yada yada yada, and I get to sit there and think, yeah, you think I'm dumb, don't you? Well, watch me whip out like 30 different pens and be good to write whatever and be fine. This is another daily carry, so this is going to go on the arm of the chair because I'm kind of running out of daily carry space. Sharpening stones. House. Person. Actually, this goes in a gear pouch. I'm missing my little pocket stone. It went probably under the chair that I'm sitting in, if I had to guess. This one stays home. I don't ever take this thing with me anywhere. This is my best stone, but it's also the one that I don't like to carry because it's too heavy. This I can put in my pocket and go with, but I will be pouching that one as well. My carpenter's pencil actually belongs... Actually, this is my woodworking one. So this one stays in my pocket. I use that one daily. There's one auger bit. There's two auger bits. I have one in brown. I have one in black. Care to guess which one I carry on my person? Carry on my person. I wear a lot of black. So, this goes with the hatchet. The brown one goes with the hatchet and belongs in a separate thing. Now we have an interesting choice before us. A couple simple choices that I'm going to make right now, though, while I'm thinking about it, is folding knife, multi-tool. These two are my favorites. These two are the ones that I like to carry in my pocket. The folding saw thing, that depends. The hatchet is going to go in the car, in the bag. It's going to go in the backpack. I like it. It's a good hefty hand axe hatchet, but it's heavy. It is very heavy. So, I think out of the fact that I know how to do batoning, and I wasn't born yesterday, I think this is going to be my main. The machete is going to be my main. Probably couple it with the little red folding saw. But this stuff right here, these two items are going to be the heaviest. They're going to go probably along the lines of woodworking, building a cabin, belong in the car. Okay. Car. Now, the big fixed bladed knives, we're going to have a little discussion about. I kind of like this one better. However, it is bigger, it is heavier, but it does have the spline on it, the 95-degree spline, or 45-degree spline, I forget which one it's called, for doing the ferro rod. I like that. This one is more or less rounded to the friggin' tip. So I think for my new belt knife, I think the one wrapped in the paracord is going to be my new belt knife. I have an alternative belt knife too, but it's smaller profile. This is in Ozark Trail. Just general, I'm cutting a fish, cutting a limb, whatever. This is going to be my smaller profile knife for the belt. Yes, baby! Gotta take a pause. We're going to continue with the gear edits here in a minute. Alright, lads and lasses, I'm gonna wrap this up real quick. So yeah, that's what I do around here. That's my big thing. Okay. Get my train of thought back, and we'll bring the table a little closer. So these are the 4x6 tarps from Dollar Tree. They'll hold, but you're gonna want to reinforce them with like sticks and stuff. Like you're gonna want to build a frame, not just tack it into the ground like you would a canvas tarp. But you want to make sure that you get the ones that have the eyelets and everything. And here's why. These are everyday carry. One of these. One of these to every one tarp that you have. It's just 2 of these on each of the, 2 of these Velcro wire holders on each of the cordage lengths that you want to take off. You take some wooden stakes and you post them in the ground. Maybe you have a wooden frame set up with some extra cordage, whatever. And then you take this and you run it from one tree to the other, and you put these little circles in through the eyelets so it holds the thing through the eyelets. Or maybe you have another system in mind and you have yourself a shelter. Literally, not even kidding. It is that simple. And a lot of people make it on there and say, well, why bother and fuss around with all the extra paracord and blah 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 blah. Extra paracord. Paracord's used for a variety of things, not just shelter builds, but baggage hangers, seats. I have actually made slingshots out of paracord before, like shepherd slings, stuff like that. So having an extra length of paracord serves many purposes. So just these 2 items. I already have one of these for that kit, and this is an emergency backup tarp for making another one. So that can actually go in the car, or better yet, I'll put that in her survival kit. Her fishing kit, actually. Okay, that's the hygiene kit. That stays out, period. That one kind of free floats around the house, the car, and my person, depending on the situation. Belt knives. Other car tool. Car tools. The stuff that's literally just going to be put in the vehicle in a pouch, on its own separate merit. Sewing kit to replace the other one, which is this one. Here we go. Alright, my concern about someone popping out here is gone for now. We're going to wrap this up pretty quickly, though. Okay. So this is no longer going to be for this stuff. I don't need this stuff. I'll keep my little wooden spoon. That's kind of a look, I did a thing. Actually, you know what? Car. Also car. That empties out this pouch that I need to actually... Who put friggin' Play-Doh in my pouch? Sticks gets everywhere. It's disgusting. I don't think it's Play-Doh. I think it's probably friggin' something. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm not actually going to use that one anyway. Alright. So, here's how this is going to work for the electronics. Okay. I have one fully charged battery for the camera. This is specifically for charging the camera. That ain't it. That's my daily use. There it is, right there, 100%. Okay. This one. Goes here.
There it is.
Like so. Give me a minute. I'm almost done. Alright. This is going to be my camera bag. Specifically, for this specific camera. And its extra batteries. Okay. I'm going to grab some USB-C cables and we'll set up a whole charging network and blah 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 blah. Now, the thing that will not fit in here that I would like to fit in here, or might not, would be this. I mean, in theory, it could fit in here, but I don't know. Okay, it does fit. So this is specifically camera stuff. Ready to rock and roll. Pretty big, hefty pouch, actually. I will not be carrying this every day. This is something that only goes out in the woods with me. Should I have to do some taping for video footage of some kind. This is not going to be, again, a daily use item. It's going to be well, it might be a daily use item. I don't know. We'll talk about that later. That has to do with channel scheduling and stuff. We need to discuss that at some point, but not at this particular moment. Okay. So this pouch system is fine. But it is missing this. But I don't think these particular pouches are going to have the room for it. So that's her pouch. I need to build that one up. You guys might get to see how I do my tarp paracord thing too. This is the keep out. So pretty much everything that's not in that corner, to a degree, is a keep out. The pots and pans system can go in the car. The water bottle is a keep out. I need to bleach that thing. Oh, do we have a fuzzy visitor on our hands again? And a blurry camera like I swiped it with my thumb. Her name is Ellie. We're working on getting her trained up at some point so she can come with me on my little adventures that I'm going to be having on my e-bike. Or in the car, in her case. The e-bike will be me by myself. Or the scooter. Might use the scooter. That's a little bit easier to... she's given loves. She is a very loving dog. It's just in her nature. It's the blue heeler. If she's not right there, she's having a bird. Trust me. All right, Ellie, you gotta. Nope, you gotta get down. Ellie, I love you too, but you gotta get down. We're working on that. Get down. Okay. Give Dad space. Okay, so for these tarps, first thing I do, this annoying plastic packaging from the store has got to go. That's number one. Oh, wait a second. Number two, you don't unfold it. Well, you do. You kind of give it a little feel around and make sure it's got the eyelets. If not, it does. They're all right there. All right. Give it a good once over. Then we fold it in half. Now this is going to be a very tight roll and a very hard roll to do. It's actually more of a fold than a roll. Okay. And you're going to be squeezing air out of it as you go. Like that. We take our first little bit of paracord. This is just to hold the tarp in place. Okay. Well, actually, no, we can start with that. First thing you're going to want to do, if you haven't done this already, burn the end of your paracord so that way it doesn't come undone later. Some people mash that down or whatever. You can, absolutely, but for this application you don't need to. In fact, leaving that sunflower, mushroom head, whatever you want to call it, system on the end of that, like that, actually makes it so you can have sealable knots later, and we'll get into that at some point. Basically just a knot system that doesn't easily come undone. I'm going to have to redo that. I'm going to have to redo this. Nothing in the middle but tarp, by the way. You don't want to put anything in with the tarp. What you're doing is you're lashing a tarp. You are lashing a tarp in a bundle. Okay? So, lashing, I'm sure you guys have seen it a billion times. I'm going to mess it up the first time, just to show you where I always screw up. Actually, I'm not going to, because I actually got it pretty well right. Alright, so for mine, I like to leave a little extra off the bottom when I'm doing this. And what that does is it lets me form an emergency ripcord. Now you go back up here, like so. Alright, your emergency end out here. Wrap it around. So, you're gonna do the first one. It's gonna be a little bit on the looser end at first, but once you get that first rope down, you can actually start tightening it a little bit. And yes, making one of these is a bit of work, but nothing worth owning is, isn't work. Okay. And we just slowly rotate it in our hands like so until we get to the end of this rope. Make sure it's all good and tight, and you want to put as much roping or as much paracord on this bundle as you can. Because this is extra cordage, this will help later down the road. Okay. Ordinarily what I do is longer, thinner bundles, but because of the nature of the pouch this is going in, I had to do it this way. You also probably want to wear gloves when you're doing it this tight. Like, ordinarily, I'd have a pair of gloves. You're going to get some kinkage rolling up on you too, so be ready for that. Hold with your finger or thumb or whatever. Just kind of straighten out your line a little bit. Don't worry about getting kinks in your paracord. You can straighten that up after you're done with your project here. Okay. Just keep wrapping it. You want the other thing this paracord does too is it protects your tarp. It's not just oh look, it's nice and compacted and compressed. No, it's also a protecting feature for your tarp. Now, if you're in a hurry or you're in the woods or whatever, you're not in, or you're in a combat, whatever, well, number one, you're not using this. You are definitely not using this if you're in combat. They have special sleep systems that go with their setups. They go with their the military uses, and they've got Alice packs and poncho shelters and all kinds of goodies, which, by the way, a good rain poncho never hurts. Anyway, I'm just gonna keep winding it down, binding it up, you know, getting it all nice and tight. Again, the tighter it is, the more cord you can put on this thing. Well, I mean the less, but the more surface area you reserve in your pouches. This is the thing that you don't deploy until you know for sure that you're at your more or less base camp location, right? Like, you're not going to want to deploy this if you can help it. If you're deploying this is a oh crap, I made a mistake deployment. This is not a, oh hey, looky what I can do. You can take, I'm going to say, an extra 6 feet of this, like so-ish. I'm going to grab that paracord tool and the lighter. Alright, we're going to go right here for the cut. So. Later. Yeah, I was gonna add the 6 feet, but we'll just do it simple. I have another idea actually. We'll braid or crochet actually the remaining paracord. Okay. Now for this. No knots. Do not put a knot in this unless you're doing a perma-lash. Permanent lashing is what you use when you're making a handle for a fishing rod, a hobo reel, sword handle, knife handle, whatever. You do not use it here. Come down to this end. You're going to watch this cord just disappear into that. Okay. Now, go down here. We tie a simple little bloop knot. I don't know what they're actually called. It's like a half a square or something at the end of the line to make sure that it doesn't, you know, come untied on you. You go up here, just simply around your finger. Make a rabbit hole and pop one bunny ear up. Doesn't have to look nice, doesn't have to look neat. There you go. Shelter the size of a tin can. Ish. And if you have a loved one that you're building a kit for, an emergency kit, you find a good little spot to tuck it away. Like right up top here. Fold that down. Close that. She has fishing, shelter, hygiene, fire starting, cordage, and a way to cut that cordage on in her purse and on her person, usually, typically. And there you go. Ta-da! That's a pouch. That's the pouch that they don't give you online. Now, why am I not including cooking stuff in this stuff? There's actually a couple good reasons. Number one, cooking in the bush is subjective on what you catch. This is her pouch. This is her forever pouch. And the other one's my camera bag. Because of the subjective nature of being in the bush and what can happen and what can't happen, I don't like to carry cookware. Most of the time, if you are surviving, you're going to fillet the fish with a knife. You're going to go get a stick from a bush somewhere, and you're going to go stick the stick through the fish and flip fry it over the fire. Like that. That's literally 100% of what everyone and their brother does when they're in the bush. And you're even going to eat it off of the stick too. So there's no... I shouldn't have put that lighter there. There's no practical reason, really, to pack dishware when you're going out in the bush for just like a day or two. Now, if I'm going out on an expedition in Alaska, for example, then yes, pack a dish. Pack something to cook with. You'll thank me for it later. You should limit it down to one, either boiling pot or frying pan. Smaller in size for yourself. And generally speaking, when you're doing an expedition in the woods, assuming your pack leader or your expedition leader doesn't have his own stuff, which is, if you go to a guide or an expedition leader and they don't have anything but a knife, go find somebody else. That guy is going to put you through hell. I mean, literally hell. You're going to regret every minute of being in the woods. It's not going to be a pleasurable experience, which I know a lot of this survivalism crap says, oh, well, it's not going to be pleasant anyway. You're going to be out in the woods and surviving and blah, blah, blah. Can I rebut that? No, you're not. Especially not if you're an American. You live in the States, you're not going to be bushcrafting much. There's not really a reason for you to be bushcrafting a whole lot. I'll be honest, most of you are going to be my size or bigger, and sitting at home watching people do the stuff that I'm getting into doing, and critiquing them every step of the way, and being keyboard warriors. If we're going to be honest, a good 75% of you, that's what you'll be doing. And the reason I'm not doing that anymore is because it's not what I was raised to do. I was raised by my grandfather and a bunch of Alaskan Native elders to go out and be outside and be in the woods. I happen to adapt the gaming thing to my life out of more of a mental health thing than anything else, because I was in high school. Video games for me have always been kind of a part of my life, but it's come to my attention that they have dominated too much of my life, and we are going to make the effort to change that a little bit. I don't mind sitting down and playing I hate Call of Duty, but Zelda or something on occasion, but realistically speaking, I think it's high time not to put it behind me per se, but to reduce the exposure. And part of that exposure reduction is going to be doing this stuff. She's back there laughing at something. So yeah, what you see me doing is I'm coiling up my paracord. Generally speaking, if you're in a hurry, fold it in half again, and then just crochet it. Do a basic crochet pattern. Don't take your time to do this. If you're out in the woods especially, you're not going to have time for what I'm doing right here. This is just I'm at home in my chair, you know, I've got the time, I'm not in a hurry, I'm not packing things up to go home. I'm not even going to be too, like, overly cautious about how I'm wrapping this either. It's just going to be basic double layer wrap, just the way that I got it. And just leave enough to tie a knot on the end and just keep it together. Keep it from being a mess in my pack. Come to the end. Just fold, or tie rather. There we go. It's a quick rebinding of the hank of paracord so it doesn't make a mess. So yeah, I forgot to put something in her pack. Having some focusing issues, I guess. Yeah. So this goes on the top. This is for her shelter, if she needs it. That's the cordage and binding system to hold the tarp to the tree. And all you got to do then is just go whack down some limbs and make some pegs and peg your tarp down on the background, and you have yourself a kit. Now, my kit bag is going to be different because mine's got a little bit of other things in it, which means that we're going to have to really, really dig deep and simplify the way that we're doing things. Okay, so we've specifically chosen items that are going to be a part of either pocket carry or what I'm calling the daily pouch carry system. And I need to actually, that goes in the gaming pouch. That's the gaming battery pack. That one's reserved for specifically video games and entertainment. And that's another thing too. If you're into electronic entertainment when you're out and about, buy a separate battery for it. You'll thank me later. The sewing kit is a better sewing kit. This is my sharpening stone. The knives are probably going to end up in my pocket along with the paracord, so that's whatever, or on my belt. So now we need to repack and redesign the two-pouch system. We've run out of room. Okay, number one. These were a good, clever gimmick item, but they're going to go in my hygiene bag. This is going to stay put. The reason for that is I got a compass in there, and that's just bulk. This is going to stay in one of the pouches, probably the one with the extra folding knife, which reminds me, I don't really care for that folding knife. It's going to disappear too. Into the hygiene bag. And so is my great-grandfather's knife, because that's not what that knife is for. Alright, so this is going to get tucked in the knife pouch. No, it's not. This is going in the knife pouch. If it'll fit. Oh, that's a really big ask. Unfortunately, a little too big. It's too long! That's what she said! Okay. Jokes aside, and that was just meant to be a joke. Get butthurt if you must, but it was just a joke. Oh, let's see. Can't put that in there. Will this fit? No, it won't. Okay. Then the bandana is going to go in that pouch. It's the only thing that fits. Go figure. And actually, I'm just going to start carrying that compass thing in my pocket, in my other pocket, so. Alright. Now, we have this. This can actually probably fit in there too, can't it? It cannot. Then we'll find a different place to put it. Water filtration system and shovel. Okay, let's see. Sewing kit. This notebook. Which will actually give that structure. This. More writing utensils. And sharpening stone, along with the fishing tackle.
Yeah, because I'm petrified and getting behind a little pack. I wasn't always.
Okay, pouch number 1 is full. Mostly. I think I can fit those colored pencils in there. Yes, they will fit. Just a very tight fit. Nope, that's not gonna work. So, hat. Oh crap. Okay, then that's gonna have to go somewhere else, I guess. Okay, what about putting this pouch front? This is a sewing kit. Least likely to be used. And then maybe that'll make more room for that. Well, how does it? It does. Alright. Ta-da! That pouch is repacked. Now, actually I could probably maybe squeeze this in with the handkerchief, which is what I actually really like to have happen, is keep the compass somewhere easier to get to and less damageable. Extra hank paracord. Medical kit needs to stay in there. That chain needs to go up front because it's my. You can use paracord. You can use paracord for cooking over a fire. I like to keep the little chains that you use for dangling potted plants because they're less likely to burn up if you accidentally leave them unattended. Put this shovel in the green bag and zip it up. hopefully. Maybe have to remove one of the Altoids tins to move to the front pouch. Or, actually, it's
Somebody opened the floodgate and the city's in trouble.
huh,
Bad.
maybe.
Stormy, get off the table. Yeah, I don't want you to get chewed on by the puppy dog either, but you should have thought of that before you got up here. Ellie, go in now. Stormy, get down. Leave her alone.
Okay.
Let go.
And I also have to find a home for the watering and the other attachment thing too. I'm gonna have to make this a 3-poucher. And I don't have a 3rd pouch. Well, I guess that's gonna be a wrap for today because I don't have a pouch and someone wants their chair back. Yeah, so keep your electronics separate from your bushcrafting gear.
Well, where do I put my computer
Camera
cord?
bag. Where do you put your computer cord? I'll tell you what you do. You coil it up, you go get a bread tie, you make it into a nice tight coil, and you shove it up your
Not nice.
your backside. No thank you, I'm not into pegging. Normal banter around the house, trust me. Okay. Yeah, this is going to end up being 3 pouches instead of just 2. 4 if you include the camera stuff. I'm going to have to order a new pouch. Or make one. That being said, it's not much stuff outside of it, so I could probably just, for now anyway, stuff the stuff in a Crayola bag. Well, I mean, that way I can keep track of it and, you know, pocket. That's already in a bag. And just set it aside. Anyway, the idea here is that we have pouches for things. I'm going to need to rehome that though. And actually, I'm going to go through the gear again and see what can go in my pocket. Not on camera, that'll be off camera. Hey, look, the chin strap. Yeah, and just kind of repurpose everything and redo it, because there are things that didn't go where I wanted it to go. This is why you use a backpack, though. Generally speaking, yeah. I have a hiker's backpack that all this stuff would fit in, no problem. But if you like the content, hit the like and subscribe buttons. I'll try to respond to the comments as they come in, but I can't guarantee that I'll get to them instantly. Also, it kind of looks like we didn't get any chats this time, so that's not my channel. That is... And I'm still misconfigured. Isn't that great? Anyway, if you like the content, hit the like and subscribe buttons. And we'll see you in the next one.